Media Watch is going to deal with the return of two people. One is Al Gore, the other, James Creedon.
Here I am. Good evening, Mark. So we're talking about Al Gore, first of all. Now, we all remember his documentary. It was back in 2006, An Inconvenient Truth. I think we have some pictures of it. It was one of the reasons he got the Nobel Peace Prize the following year, along with the International Panel for Climate Change. And it basically kind of cast him as a politician turned green activist, all about climate change and the dangers that it holds for the planet. Well, he's back, basically. He's got another, and it's not just a run-of-the-mill documentary this time. It's a 24-hour, hour-by-hour sort of live streaming event that's going to take place online. And I'll show you the website. It's called 24 Hours of Reality. And the whole idea is that he goes to a different city or a different location around the world. And I think we've got a little bit of footage from the trailer here as well. And the idea, so it starts in Mexico City at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning Paris time. That's 7 p.m. today their time. Before moving on to Vancouver Island, Hawaii, Auckland, New Zealand, Beijing. Now, he's not going to all of these places. He wouldn't get from one place to the other in an hour.
What's the point of it all?
Basically, the point is to take it one step further from An Inconvenient Truth and to link climate change and natural catastrophes. That's his big new thing. He's saying that there's a lot of science at the moment to prove that climate change is behind an awful lot of the natural catastrophes that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So it's starting at 2 a.m. Paris time this morning, and it's culminating in New York at 7 p.m. tomorrow, where he's going to speak live, basically online.
Okay, so Al Gore is back, and you're back too. Next, we turn to the big revelations that have come from the tapes recorded shortly after the death of John F. Kennedy by his widow. These were put away, she said, and not to be used until after her death. She died in 1994, and now they're out.
That's right.
She's had some controversial things to say about a lot of people, including the French.
Including the French, that's right. For example, about Lyndon Johnson, she said he had an enormous ego. Martin Luther King, a terrible man. So sort of controversial things.
A terrible man, Martin
Luther King.
Man.
Apparently, that's what she said about him. And so this is some pictures that the French news were playing today because they're particularly keen to know what she thought of the French. She was partly French in origin herself, Jacqueline Bouvier, and apparently she thought that de Gaulle was spiteful. Now, de Gaulle, she met him actually in 1961 in France when she came over with John F. Kennedy. And he had been her hero around the time she married JFK, apparently. But that all changed when she met him. She didn't particularly like the guy. And apparently what she thought of the French, this was all on ABC. They got the exclusive on it over in the US. But Le Monde is looking at Jackie Kennedy judged de Gaulle, or thought he was cruel, and that the French were selfish. And what she actually said was, I hate the French. There's not one French person I can think of, apart from maybe two simple people who I liked. They're not very kind. They only think of themselves. Now, what you could say is that might have reflected on her own ancestors.
It might have reflected on the fact that she was an outrageous snob, as it seems that she was. I mean, I'm sorry to be judgmental, but maybe she never met Gérard Depardieu. That was the problem.
Right, well, that's it. He would have livened things up a bit. She might have liked him.
French actor Gérard Depardieu. What's he been up to?
They weren't historical contemporaries. But anyway, last month we know what he was up to. This was on a flight from Paris to Dublin. He never got there on that particular flight. The 16th of July, he basically urinated in his seat because he needed to go to the loo. Couldn't wait, apparently, for the plane to take off. The air hostess was telling him to stay put. So he peed into a bottle, which then overflowed and created a big controversy, and people thought he was drunk, but he says he wasn't. So let's hear what he has now had to say for himself.
Great.
I'm not sick, I'm not a terrorist, I just want to pee. Understand? And she said, no, go back to your place. I said, and I have a friend who has a bottle, and he said, oh, take the bottle. So I took the bottles, and I said, I have my bottle, your foot doesn't serve anymore. I want to take my bottle, and I pee. And it was so beautiful, it's very hurt. Oh, I was, and I'm not a monster. I'm just a man who wants to pee, and
he's in Ireland playing the big fat guy in Asterix, isn't he?
That's right. So there you go, peed into a bottle, and so he's made everyone laugh, including Anderson Cooper
which is no mean feat.
Right, exactly. And
because he's a serious guy.
He is, and they actually had this little gag at the end. I'm not sure if we have time to look at it, but with bottles and all this sort of stuff. Do we have time to have a look at how the show finished?
I here have my water bottle as well, and if you were able ever to come on this show, we'll have a water bottle here for you.
Yes, right? But this is not enough. Look, I have mine.
That, of course, was Media Watch. Thank you very much for watching.